Hello, I am in the North Island of New Zealand at the minute. Over on the west side, Taranaki I think it's called. So I'm hopefully going to look at some old international tractors. This is one of them things like, someone just gave me a man's number, told me what town he lived in, and then sent me on my merry way. So I did phone this man, and he gave me some vague directions, so I'm heading hopefully to his yard now if I can find it. And yeah, he swears a lot, so hopefully he's not too raw for camera now. Hopefully we can get him to tone it down a bit, like. But sure, we'll see when we get there. So Bruce, you have possibly the biggest collection of working internationals in...
Supposedly so. New Zealand definitely, and from what I understand, it possibly is one of the biggest in the world. Yeah. There's a lot bigger collectors, but they're sort of museum pieces. I don't believe in that. And I don't believe they're old, they're just good classics that go to work.
So the truck works as well?
Every day, most days, yes. It carts hay and does about 400k a day, carting in hay, grain, stuff like that. It's not a very big truck, it's only a 350 Cummins. But yeah, it does what I need to do. It's done nearly 3 million kilometres in its life. It's on its third engine, but it's never ever failed a certificate of fitness, ever. It's that good.
Passes every year?
Every time. I keep my maintenance up to a high program. And
then this is the latest project?
It's a 7220 Magnum I'm rebuilding from the ground up again. New transmission's gone in. It was an industrial model, but we're putting it back to the nice bright red like it should be.
Oh yeah.
Cabs away getting panelled. Probably 2 months and it'll be working as in brand new again.
And what's it going to be doing?
It'll be planting, because I haven't got any power shifts, and I'm getting a bit older and I want to have a fancy seat and a power shift for myself, you know. And it's not that old, it's a 96, it's the last of the 7200s. It'll see me out with a bit of luck, and yeah, it'll do disking or deep ripping. We do a lot of big deep tillage, but I've got bigger tractors, but this one it'll fit into the fleet quite nicely. In my eyes, it's only a half breed, it's not the genuine McCoy, but it'll do.
Yeah.
So that's the flagship, the 788. That came from Cantanning, Western Australia, out of the wheat belt.
What does it do?
Normally disking with a set of 5 tonne, 5.5 metre discs, or deep ripping, 7 picks, metre deep. Other than that, a lot of fun. Yeah. But
is that your machine?
No, I've got a F5 that's driven that since I've bought it. I've had it probably 8 years. It came in fairly rough, panel wise tidy, paint nothing. There's nothing left on it, the sun over there. And mechanically I haven't really done anything to it. And it's done, I think we're up to about 10,000 hours on that engine and transmission now, and it's never been a problem. It's been a very, very good tractor. I didn't need anything that big, but it's the only 6788 in New Zealand. So yeah, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
There are 2+2s here, but not the 6788.
She's kind of like your pride and joy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. They're all favourites.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't have them if they weren't.
And then what have we next?
1066. That's probably, it does more work than any of them, the 1066. I bought it as a complete wreck. That's a genuine diamond cab out of the US. It's air-con nowadays. When I bought it, it had no bonnet panels. She was rotted away. I've made new doors, window frames, roof cap, bought in some panels from the US. Mechanically, I haven't touched it, but it's due to be come down. It's got to have a master clutch. But we've had it 5 years and worked it real. It does all the power harrowing, or a lot of the power harrowing. So they're a very, very reliable tractor. People say torque amplifiers and international is the biggest downfall of them, but it's not. If you know how to set them up and know how to drive them, they'll last for 6,000–7,000 hours.
So but she's the hardest working tractor in the fleet then?
It pretty much is, yes. Yeah, that's why I bought the Magnum, to keep some of the hours off the older equipment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, but they're not costing any money, And I can do an engine job. I did an engine job on one down there 2 years ago, and it was only 2,800 New Zealand dollars, pistons, liners. Now, you'd never do a new engine up for that.
No.
I don't know how people make it work, but anyway, that's their business, and I farm for profit, hopefully. I'm not saying there's much in it, but it's good fun.
How much are you farming?
Oh, acres, 230 hectares or 500, 600 acres, 500 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much barley nowadays. It was all barley 5 years ago, but now we grow corn, all for grain, and some silage, but alfalfa and maybe 50 or 70 acres of barley.
Yeah.
A little bit of hemp, which is something I don't really want to get into.
Yeah.
You can't smoke that stuff, so it's no good for you.
And then we have a combine that's definitely not
No,
new.
it's not a combine, it's a windrower, and I use it for cutting alfalfa. And peas, I went to the Manor 2 last year and did 100 acres of peas for a friend. A flood went through it and they couldn't get it off the ground with the choppers, so I windrowed it. Took the crimper out and just windrowed it so they could pick it up. And but I do all my lucerne or alfalfa with it, whatever you want to call it. I do cut annual grasses with it, and it makes a good. The crimper's really good in lucerne. You get a very, very good product. No leaf loss. That come out of Central Otago. I was cutting peas, I think for Heinz or Watties maybe. I'm not sure now. I've had it for a long time. I got it back and got carried away. Pulled every panel off it and rebuilt it and started again. I don't know why, but it looks nicer, but it still gets used every year. Like it's going out again on Sunday. It's got, I don't know, 15 hectares of lucerne to cut for a chap. The Farmall M gets used in the season on a daily basis. It drives the grain auger at the grain store. That's all it does now. That's my wife's tractor, that one. It's 1947. Never ever been touched. Never been touched. Everything's original. Radiator seat. It's had tyres and I repainted it a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago now. So, but it's still people say, oh, you don't need that, but it still gets used. You could have a brand new Case IH or a Deutz on an auger, but it's going to do the job no better than that, old girl.
Yeah.
So, actually, we run a grain dryer with it in one of the grain dryers in the winter for maize, and it's no more. It's just as efficient as a diesel, and it costs no more to dry per tonne with that Farmall M on petrol. With the updraft carburetor, only use what it has to use, so it goes very, very well. But no, she's a bit of fun. The boys love driving down the road. It's got nearly 40k at top end if you can hang on to it.
Yeah?
Yeah, she goes like a scolded cat. She's all over the road though, eh? But it's good fun. Yeah, and believe it or not, a tricycle tractor is hard to tip over. People don't believe me, because the pivot on an ordinary tractor is right in the middle. The pivot is 9 inches further out here. Now, it doesn't isolate on the front axle like an ordinary tractor, it stays there, but when it gets to a certain point it will tip over easier. But in the beginning it's a lot harder to tip over. It's sort of funny. It's like sitting on a three-legged stool. You try and tip over, there's always one leg that's in the way and you can't go forward on it. It's the same thing.
Now we're getting into the big stuff again.
Yeah, she's a big fella. She's not that big. It's only a couple of 100 horsepower. It came out of Indiana. I bought it off a chap I know over there about 10 years ago. The only reason I bought it because there's none here and it looked different. But it's certainly a muscle tractor. It's certainly a prairie tractor. Harvester was involved with Steiger in about 76 right through to the end. Now this is not built by Steiger, but it's got Steiger drop box and things like that in it, but it was built in the Harvester factory. It was built in the Chicago plant, Rock Island. It's got rock wheel diffs, it's 4-wheel steer, and I think it's about nearly 12 tonne. 8-speed gear shift. Simple. I think the only thing we've ever done is put a clutch in it. That's about it. It's got a 3-point hitch and a PDO. Useless for PDO work. Time it goes down through all the boxes and back up, you're only about 150, 170 PDO horsepower. So, but we don't use it. We just use it for deep. It's got a huge set of rippers on it. We drop them in about 900 mil deep, 7 picks. That certainly, she'll use 50 litres an hour and hard going. But it pulls it no problem, no wheel slip. Once again, it's just something different and it still looks cool in my eyes. It's something about American equipment. It's a bit like American automobiles and trucks and all that. It never dates. like some stuff does, you know. Yeah, the Yanks spent a lot of time on drawing boards, and they made super reliable gear, very, very over-engineered. All the stuff was made before there was a CAD machine to draw them up on, you know. This was all built by putting it in the field. If that don't work, we'll make it heavier. And that's how they got it right. And so there were failures a lot. People say Harvester had a lot of failures. So did John Deere. So did Minneapolis Moline. But no one surpassed them in numbers.
Yeah.
1984, International Harvester built 5 million tractors. Well, that's never heard of, even on today's standards. Yeah, there is a story that Harvester loaned way back, I'm talking the 1930s, that Harvester loaned John Deere 50 million for development, and it was never ever paid back. It was always, I don't know whether that's right or not, but there is, you go and talk to an old American farmer, he'll tell you that story, you know, and he's adamant about it. So who knows? Who knows?
Because in America, it's very much Case versus John Deere.
Oh, they're just killing one another from daylight till dark. It's just, you'll go to...
And that's like a generational thing.
Very much so.
Even on
if you're
farm.
Born red, you'll stay red. It's no one really changes. Yeah, there's a war over there all the time. You'll go into a car park and stop at a diner over there, and there's Fords on one side of the car park and Chevrolets on the other, and if they were together there'd be a knifing or something, or a shooting or something. I don't know how it works. My dad bought that 606 brand new in 1964. It's done 30,000 hours.
And he was a contractor as well?
Yes, Dad was a big contractor in his time, mainly hay, earth moving, silage. Dad had some big gear in his time, yeah. He's always been International Harvester, or in the later years Case IH. Dad gave that to me, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, and it was pretty rough. She'd done a lot of work, and had a front end loader on it. Well, that was cruel on it, and I bought it, and he gave it to me, and I restored it all and did everything brand new on it again, and it needs a new seat again. But it's daily. It pulls the conventional baler and pulls the wrapper, things like that. It does a great job. I do all my own maintenance. None of my machines have ever been at a dealership, ever. Yeah, no matter what, even the power shift, you figure it out. Like I say, I'm a fitter and turner by trade, so you're sort of mechanically minded enough to sort it.
So you rent this every year?
Yes, I have done for years, yes. All dead flat, 100% productive. Very, very good people to deal with. It's a club. I think it's a very efficient club. Well, it should be with the money I pay in rent. But no, it's they must own 6 planes or more, and then like Fonterra use the airfields and the oil fields, and they can land twin engine stuff here quite comfortably.
On the grass?
On the grass, yeah. We keep the airstrips done for them. That's part of our contract.
Oh yeah.
And, we work the ground here. We have done for I don't know how many years, a long, long time. It's still very fertile. It costs us a lot in fertiliser, but you only get out of a crop what you put into it. So
yeah. So this machine is this the pride of the fleet?
Yeah, it is. It's probably the nicest 1460 you'll see anywhere. It's done a lot of work, mainly corn. It's a 1980 model and had a 4-row front on it. I bought a 1020 grain head for it a few years ago, and for the cereal when I sold the other little combines, and I wouldn't have spent $5,000 on this combine in all the years I've had it. It's super reliable. It doesn't use a drop of oil. It gets serviced every 200 hours whether it needs it or not. You know, that's the secret to it. Mechanically faultless, and just goes from daylight till dark. It's a lovely machine to drive, and I get a very, very clean sample, and I get virtually nothing on the ground. If you set them up properly, a rotary, they'll love you. They're just a fantastic machine. They're not a big machine, and real good going. I'll do 15 to 18 tonne an hour in barley. Corn I can do a lot more, but it's not about, there's no race, and it doesn't owe me a cent, and you can still buy all the parts that we require. We've got a built-on order now for it.
So that's all the machinery we're going to see today?
Yeah, that's available to look at without travelling for miles, yeah. Was that not enough?
Oh, that'll do me. Thanks very much, Bruce, for showing me around.
You're more than welcome. It's great to see you and great to meet you, and I hope you have some fun doing it all. because I have a lot of fun driving it, I can tell you. I go to work every day with a smile on my face. And no HP. That's the best bit. No HP. Every time it starts, it makes $1.